The story centers around a desperate and dangerous situation involving a group of troubled characters entangled in a high-stakes kidnapping plot, family trauma, and violent confrontations. Nick, Jamie, and their friends have orchestrated the kidnapping of Stephen, Jamie's ex-boyfriend, who is also the father of her child. Their aim is to leverage Stephen for money or to get back something they lost, but the plan is complicated by the presence of Terrence, a ruthless and vengeful man with ties to both Stephen and the group. Terrence is a violent figure who holds grudges and isn't afraid to kill anyone who crosses him. The characters are caught between loyalty, fear, and the harsh realities of their criminal pasts. Jamie is struggling with the aftermath of past mistakes, her drug relapse, and the time she spent in prison, and is determined to get her son back from Terrence. The group's dynamic is fraught with tension, especially between Jamie and Nick, who are both haunted by their shared history and recent betrayals. Nick worries that Terrence will retaliate violently when he discovers the double-cross, but Jamie tries to keep the group focused, insisting they follow through for the sake of the baby. The story unfolds in a remote, cold wilderness where the characters seek refuge in a cabin. Jamie refuses to go to a hospital after a violent incident, fearing arrest, and insists on hiding out in the woods instead. This isolation amplifies their desperation and forces them to confront their past, their fractured relationships, and the dangerous people pursuing them. As they search for the kidnapped Stephen, they encounter hostile locals and face threats from the elements and from Terrence's men. There is a sense of looming violence, especially as Terrence's brutality becomes clear. He kills a woman who opposed him and shows no mercy to anyone who stands in his way. Throughout the ordeal, the characters reflect on their lost family, particularly the death of their parents and the shattered innocence of their youth. These memories contrast with the harsh present, showing how far they've fallen. Jamie's determination to save her son drives much of the narrative, even as the group wrestles with their guilt, blame, and survival instincts. Tensions rise between the characters as accusations fly, especially regarding loyalty, secrets, and past betrayals. Heather, a woman linked with Terrence, is seen as both a potential ally and a threat. Nick and Jamie's unresolved issues complicate their decisions as they argue over who can be trusted and what the best course of action is. Amidst the freezing cold and growing danger, the group discovers clues to Stephen's whereabouts but remains unsure of how far he's gotten or if he's still alive. They debate whether to continue their perilous search or give up, weighed down by fatigue, mistrust, and the harsh environment. Terrence's presence is a constant shadow over the story. He manipulates, intimidates, and threatens anyone who stands against him, including those close to him. His violent actions reveal his obsessive desire for control and revenge, particularly against Stephen and those who betrayed him. In a pivotal moment, one character, Sam, appears disoriented and injured in the woods, chained and confused, symbolizing the physical and emotional captivity that the characters endure. The scene heightens the stakes, showing how the violence and betrayal have caught up with everyone involved. In a bleak, isolated forest, a group of estranged siblings and former criminals become entangled in a desperate and spiraling plot to kidnap a man named Stephen, ex-boyfriend to Jamie and father to her child. Jamie, recently released from prison, convinces her brother Nick and their accomplices to abduct Stephen, claiming it's a way to get ransom money and escape their grim lives. However, it becomes clear that her motivations are deeper and more personal: revenge against Terrence, a dangerous and controlling figure from her past who took her son away and contributed to her downward spiral. As the group flees through the wilderness with Stephen in tow, internal tensions rise. Nick struggles with guilt and grief over their broken family, especially after the death of their sister Sam, whose presence continues to haunt them both metaphorically and literally. Jamie, hardened by prison and loss, pushes forward with a mix of desperation and determination, hiding the full truth about her connection to Terrence and what truly happened to her in the past. Meanwhile, Terrence, accompanied by his volatile crew including Mickey, Heather, and a man known only as Buddy, is in hot pursuit. Terrence is sadistic, manipulative, and emotionally damaged, driven as much by control and ego as any real need for money. His traumatic upbringing fuels his rage and his desire to dominate those who wronged him. The deeper the group moves into the woods, the more the environment seems to reflect their unraveling sanity, littered with eerie scarecrow-like figures and abandoned camps hinting at a larger, more mysterious danger lurking nearby. As the pursuit intensifies, members of both groups begin to splinter. Heather warns of strange inhuman figures in the woods that attack without reason, suggesting a supernatural force may be involved. Terrence grows increasingly unhinged, violently lashing out at anyone he sees as a liability. His fixation on control and his sadistic tendencies lead to further deaths, isolating him even from his allies. Nick and Jamie, meanwhile, begin to confront their emotional wounds. Nick reveals how he had to act like a surrogate father after their parents died and how he feels he failed Sam. Jamie confesses that the kidnapping wasn't about ransom, it was to hit back at Terrence and reclaim her son's father, whom she still loves. Their journey becomes as much about redemption and forgiveness as survival. Sam's ghost appears to both siblings, calm, mysterious, and almost divine, guiding them toward Stephen and offering them emotional closure. She reveals she is more than just their sister now, an otherworldly force connected to whatever supernatural presence dominates the forest. She tells them they must find Stephen, not only for his sake but for their nephew Jeremy, who still has a chance at a better life. In the climax, the surviving characters descend into a hidden underground area where Stephen is believed to be held. There the truth is laid bare: some malevolent force in the woods requires a sacrifice one must feed, and not everyone will make it out alive. Sam's spirit urges Nick to keep going, promising it's not too late to save Stephen. As chaos erupts, betrayals unfold, and Terrence's reign of terror ends, the core question remains: can any of them truly escape the cycle of violence, or are they doomed to repeat the sins of their past? In the end, Nick and Jamie must choose between vengeance and redemption, between grief and the faint hope of a future worth surviving for. In a remote forest shrouded in mystery and violence, a fractured group of siblings, criminals, and outcasts are drawn into a chaotic and supernatural struggle while trying to rescue a kidnapped man, Steven. What begins as a botched revenge kidnapping spirals into something far darker, exposing old wounds, hidden betrayals, and an ancient presence that demands blood. Jamie and her brother Nick set the plan in motion by abducting Steven, the father of Jamie's child, not for ransom as originally claimed, but to get back at Terrence, a manipulative and abusive figure from Jamie's past who destroyed her life and stole her child. Jamie's intentions are rooted in pain and a desire for redemption. Nick, still reeling from the death of their sister Sam, is pulled into the chaos out of loyalty, guilt, and a desperate hope to mend the past. Terrence, ruthless and psychologically damaged, leads a brutal pursuit of the kidnappers with his unstable crew, including Heather and Buddy. Heather, along with her brother Daryl, starts questioning their role as they realize Terrence's cruelty has no limits. But before anyone can change course, supernatural forces emerge from the depths of the forest, ominous vampiric entities who live by their own ancient laws. These blood-hungry creatures take Daryl, unleashing panic and disarray within the group. Sam, presumed dead, begins appearing to Jamie and Nick in visions. But she is not quite human anymore. While her ghost seems to guide them, others warn this being may not be Sam at all. Still, Nick clings to hope, believing Sam's spirit is trying to lead them to Steven and closure. The group splinters further as trust breaks down. Terrence descends into madness, haunted by past abuse and his obsession with control. He lashes out violently even against those closest to him. Heather eventually turns on him, realizing Terrence only ever used and manipulated them all. Meanwhile, the supernatural forces tighten their grip, declaring they require a sacrifice one must feed before any soul can leave the forest. Nick and Jamie plead with the entities to spare Steven. They offer Terrence instead, arguing he is the true cause of the pain and bloodshed. The creatures accept, dragging Terrence to his fate. But even then, the danger isn't over. Sam, whose spirit has been claimed by the Dark Force, is manipulated into attacking her siblings. Nick calls to her, reminding her of who she once was and the love they shared. In an emotional climax, Sam breaks free long enough to help defeat the evil holding them captive. As the dust settles, the forest spirits release Steven. Sam, now fully a supernatural guardian, thanks her siblings for fulfilling their purpose and helping set lost souls free. She warns them never to return to the woods, as the ancient force may not show mercy a second time. In the final moments, Steven is reunited with his son. A child asks, "Dad, who are they?" Steven replies, "They're the ones who brought me home." This harrowing tale blends psychological trauma with the supernatural. It's a story of redemption, betrayal, and sacrifice, showing how the sins of the past echo across generations and how love, even beyond death, can bring peace to the most tormented souls. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.